Good evening. In previous video, we discussed about the difference between the terrestrial and jovial planets. Okay, um, and the difference between the terrestrial and jovial planets we discussed there. Okay, and then we just moved to the how the Earth is tilted and the evolution of the atmosphere we have seen. Okay, to see this video, you just watch the previous one, which is part 1 of the geography, and then this discontinuity theory we have seen, discontinuous within the earth we have seen this. And the previous year question also there is a the question asked on discontinuity, and the question asked on the latitudes and longitudes, the time mentioned in the previous question it was asked. Okay, and then the terrestrial and jovial differences are within, it's a basic thing, you have to know it. Okay, and then where is Cooper belt? Yesterday we discussed about the asteroid belt, but where is Cooper belt? Here the Cooper belt. Okay, the Cooper belt comes after the whole planets, after the solar system. We get the Cooper belt. Okay, and next, and we have seen the major elements in the Earth's crust. Okay, the previous question they has asked about the major gases in the atmosphere. Okay, we will discuss it also. And we have seen the Earth's crust and the oxygen. It's the most important oxygen. When it comes to atmosphere, most important will be nitrogen. Okay, nitrogen will be most important one. And then oxygen, we have seen silicon, aluminum, iron. Okay, just remember just first 4 or 5. Okay, calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium. And then after that we studied about the earthquakes. Okay, the previous question asked like the volcanic mountain. What is the example of the volcanic mountain? Okay, in this video we discuss it this different measurement of how the earthquake is measured by different scales, such as the Richter scale, such as in and the intensity scale, Richter scale, which deals about the what Richter scales is deals. Richter scale deals about the or the distance of from the, okay, measure the particular seismographic. The magnitude deals about the magnitude, and the intensity deals about the how the which damage it has occurred. Magnitude the how much damage has occurred. Intensity scale talks about the, okay. Then they have seen the minor plates and the major plates. These were the major plates and minor plates. There might be a question of asking the location of the minor plates. The example of the minor plate, which is a Arabian plate. Another one is Cocos plate. It's between the Central America and the Pacific, and the Philippine plate. Okay, and the we have seen this. Okay, and then Nazca plate, one most Nazca plate we didn't, and Nazca plate. Okay, which is in Southern America and Pacific plate. And we have seen the endogenic and exogenic forces. We have seen the rocks, which is igneous, which is sedimentary, and metamorphic. Sedimentary by the form of layer or stratified sedimentary, metamorphic by PVT changes. Okay, in the PVT is a foliation or lineation. Okay, banding. And we have seen the difference between the acidic lava and basic lava. Okay, acidic more is silica, acidic more silica, basaltic more is iron and magnesium. Okay, this was the most important one, you have to remember it. And then it forms a cone shape. Okay, it forms the basaltic dome shape. Okay, and the types of volcano, we can see the shield volcano, composite volcano, caldera, shield volcano. Okay, which forms the nodes. They are mostly made up of basalt. Shield volcano mostly made up of basalt. They are low explosive. Okay, and then it won't occur the layers. Composite volcano, it occurs layer from the bottom, the layer occurs. Okay, caldera is the most explosive, but it won't form any shapes, it will dissolve in itself. Okay, most is it erupts in itself, collapses in itself. Okay, next in this video we are going to discuss about the in deep. From here we are going to discuss it. Okay, because till the volcanoes we discussed in the previous video. So water on the earth surface, how the water, where is the most water? Oceans has much larger water. 97.2% of the water belongs to oceans. After the ocean there is ice caps and glaciers. Ice caps or glaciers becomes second one. Month means oceans we regarded it as a salt water, so the fresh water we start from ice caps and glaciers. And the second one is groundwater. Third one is lakes. Okay, first glaciers and ice caps, groundwater and the lakes, and the soil moisture and atmosphere and the streams and the rivers. Okay, atmosphere and the streams and the rivers comes to later. Okay, next biosphere, it was also now when we goes to winds, the local winds, there might be questions about the warm different the warm winds. Okay, match the following might be asked, or might be chances of asking the similar lines of the currents. Okay, cold wind Pampero is a cold wind, Mistral cold wind, Bora cold wind, Tramontane Tramontane cold wind, Grigali is a cold wind. Okay, Grigali is cold wind. Now the warm winds, the cold winds are there. There are also warm winds. For Loo, it mostly present in North India. Loo. In the summertime we experience Loo in Delhi. Okay, Fohen, Chinook, Sirocco, Jonda. Okay, Fohen. This was a very famous one. The most of the questions asked, most of the times these questions asked on this Chinook or Sirocco or Fohin. Okay, and the one mystery is cold wind. Okay, Loo is a hot wind. Loo is a harmful. The plains of North India and the Pakistan, we can say that Mistral is a cold wind. It's also important. Mistral is a cold wind. It's also harmful. The Rhine Valley, you can see in Rhine Valley, Europe and southern France. Okay, Sirocco is a hot one, harmful. Mediterranean wind that comes from the Sahara. Okay, that comes from the Sahara. Fohn is a hot one. It is beneficial. Fohn and Chinook are beneficial. These both are beneficial. Okay, Chinook, both are beneficial because leaf sides of the Alps. Fohn, Chinook we can see in the sides of the Rockies. Chinook is in America. It's the Rockies. Okay, Fohn leaf was Alps. It's a Europe. Okay, these two are beneficial. Okay, we covered the winds. Okay, and then the name such as Fohn is a warm. It's a depends on region. Alps region. Okay, Fohn we can see in Alps region. Chinook you can see in the Rockies. Okay, Kalbaisaki is a warm wind. You can northern India. You can say in India Kalbaisaki. Okay, summer winds. Okay, it's a warm one. Loo is, we can see Loo is also in India. Jonda is Andes. Warm is Andes. Berg is South Africa. Berg is in South Africa. Okay, it's also warm one. Berg, it's in South Africa. Now Santa Ana, warm, California, coastal southern California, Santa Ana. Southerly now Mistral is cold. It's the southeast of France. We have seen is Hermanton. It's a doctor wind. We can say it's a doctor wind. Hermanton. It's in Guinea coast. Okay, it's a warm one. Guinea coast. Okay, this one also. This is the important one. Herman doctor wind. There might be asked questions of a doctor wind. What's a doctor wind? It's a warm wind. It's a Guinea coast. Okay, means in winds most probably the chances of asking is Loo, Mistral, Sirocco, Fohn and Chinook. Okay, only except the Mistral here, everything are hot one. And then Herman doctor wind is a warm wind. It's a Guinea coast. Okay, Santa Ana, that might be California. It might be a warm wind. This might be asked. Kalbaiski, you know, it is in India itself. Okay, don't need to go in depth of it. It's enough. And after that the regions. Okay, and in Atlantic it is a What is this? The rainfall. The rainfall, it's depend upon the centimeter. The depend upon the centimeter of the rains. We recorded in Atlantic. In Atlantic, the rainfalls are known as hurricanes. In Atlantic, it's a hurricanes. Okay. In Western Pacific and China, in Southern is it tufans. Tufan, we can call it Western Pacific and South China Sea. We call as tufan. Western Australia, it calls a willy willies. Western Australia, it calls as willy willies. Okay. Now, we directly goes into tropical cyclones. What is the favorable conditions for the formation of tropical cyclones? How the tropical cyclones formed? What are the favorable conditions to form the cyclones? Okay, when it comes to cyclone, it should have the large area. The cyclone should have large sea surface with sea surface means tropical cyclone forms on sea. It forms on sea. Okay, if it is India, it's all of Bay of Bengal, it's all our Arabia Sea. The tropical cyclones form here and here. Okay, in Arabia form and Bay of Bengal, and most probably we see in a Bay of Bengal. Okay, most probably cyclones are seen in Bay of Bengal. Now, it should have large surface area with temperature of higher than 27 degrees. The temperature higher than 27 degrees. Okay, there might be asked a question of equal to 27 degrees. It should be higher than 27. Okay. The source of moisture, whose condensation of moisture releases enough latent heat to drive the storm because. Okay. Now, the presence of Coriolis forces. Okay, it is if it is equator. Okay, equator, in equator what happened? Coriolis forces is 0. Equator Coriolis force is 0. But the tropical cyclones, tropical means what? 23.5 degree in between 0 to 23.5 degree. We can call it a tropical zone. Okay, till 30 degrees we consider as a tropical. Till 30 degrees we can consider as a tropical. So in these zones cyclones are occur, tropical cyclones are occur. It should have presence of Coriolis forces. Due to the presence of Coriolis forces in northern hemisphere, the wind shift the wind direction towards the right side. Okay, shift towards the right. Okay, the wind force will act on it enough to create cyclonic vortex. Coriolis forces are enough to create cyclonic vortex. Okay, small variation in vertical wind speed. Okay, a pre-existing low pressure weak low pressure area or low level cyclone means there should be in cyclones there should be LP, low pressure. It has to form the cyclone, it should have in the mid there should be low pressure, then only high pressure will comes to the low pressure. Okay, to capture it. Now upward divergence above the sea level. Okay, there is a upward divergence above the sea level. Tropical means, okay, cyclones. Now tropical cyclones form mostly on the western margins of the ocean. Mostly on the western margins of the ocean. Okay, if it is a ocean, okay, here western margins, tropical winds mostly form here, western margins of the ocean. Okay, we consider Bay of Bengal. If it is considered, it is a western margin for this ocean. Okay, next when it comes to tropical cyclone, die at 30 degree latitude, till 30 degrees only tropical cyclone is good. After that subtropical. Okay, after that subtropical, because we consider a temperate cyclone, we consider as a temperate cyclone after that because of the cool ocean waters and increasing wind shear. Okay, increasing wind shear due to westerlies. Here mostly easterlies act. Okay, in the tropical cyclones mostly easterlies act on it. Okay, due to the in temperate what happened, we should have low pressure, I said already, and the low wind shear. Okay, in temperate after the above the 30 degree there is cool ocean currents, and increasing wind shear due to the westerlies. There acts as westerlies. Okay, why there are very few tropical cyclones during the southwest monsoon season. Southwest monsoon, where it forms, this is southern west monsoon. Okay, like this. Okay, it will form like the southern west monsoon. Southwest monsoon, we have seen only few tropical cyclones. The southwest monsoon is characterized by the presence of strong westerly winds. Presence of strong westerly winds in the lower troposphere. In the lower troposphere, below 5 kilometers, and very strong easterly winds. Very strong easterly winds. Okay. In the upper troposphere, above 9, means what's happening during the southwest monsoons. The downside, if it is a earth, okay, above these 5 kilometers, there will be westerlies. Above the 9 kilometers is a 5. If it consider 9 kilometers, there will be easterly acting on it. Okay. This result large vertical wind shear. Strong vertical wind shear inhibits cyclone development. Strong vertical wind shear inhibits means it stops the cyclonic development. Because of this wind shear, increasing large wind shear, because wind shear should be low. If wind shear should be low, wind shear results into tropical cyclones. When wind shear is very high, what happens? There is a less chances of formation of tropical cyclones. Okay, formation of tropical cyclone, less chances. Did you get my point? What I'm saying? A mature tropical cyclone is characterized by the strong spirally circulating wind around the center, which is called the eye. Okay, which is called the eye. This is regarded as eye. Okay, this one eye. Okay, a mature tropical cyclone characterized by the strong spirally. This is a strong spiral. This is spiral, strong spiral. Okay, spiral circulating wind around the center. Okay, which is called, this is eye. Okay, the eye is an area with a calm weather. Descending air means low pressure. It's a calm area. As the air is descending, it gets adiabatically compressed and the temperature increases. Air gets adiabatically compressed or descending. Air gets descending, adiabatically compressed, and the temperature increases. This prevents cloud formation. And the eye is characterized by the light winds and clear. Eye is characterized by light winds and clear skies. Okay. Now we will see the difference between the tropical cyclone and temperate cyclone. In the origin, we can say it is tropical cyclone thermal origin because of heat, means low pressure, high pressure. Okay, due to the low pressure, the high pressure comes here, and due to the heat, the tropical cyclone has formed. Okay, the temperate cyclones. How the temperate cyclone formed? Dynamic origin. Temperate cyclone formed dynamic origin. Coriolis forces will much more act on it. Movement of air masses. Okay, the movement of air masses. Okay, dynamic origin. Okay, the latitude. When if we can say, take the latitude, if it is a year, if it is 0 degrees, okay, this belt 30 degrees, this belt, we can say tropical cyclones. And in the same time it would cyclones, tropical cyclone won't be in a equator. It is 0 degrees, it won't be. So 10 to 30 degrees north and south. Okay, then the temperate cyclone, where it forms, the temperate cyclone above the 30, means 35 to 65 degrees north and south of equator, more pronounced in northern hemisphere due to the greater temperature contrast. Temperatures are more because here mostly oceans are there in southern. Here land is there. So due to there is a, in land there is a variability. In land there is a variability of temperature. Okay, there is a variability of temperature. So we see in mostly in northern hemisphere temperate cyclones. Okay, the frontal system is absent, totally absent. Okay, frontal system absent in it, but the very cyclone formation due to the frontal occluded front. Okay, we will discuss the fronts one by one. Okay, cold front and warm front. Okay, occluded front means above the surface, the cold front and warm front above the surface. Okay, now the formation, how is the formation? They form only on the seas with a temperature more than 27 degrees. means tropical cyclone form only on the seas, it won't form on the land, okay. But the temperate cyclones forms both on the land as well as sea, temperate cyclones, okay. Now season we can say that the seasonal, the late summer, seasonal late summers, August to November, it forms August to November. The temperate cyclones are irregular, mostly irregular, but few in summers and more in winters. Temperate cyclone more in winters, okay. The late summers is a tropical, means we can say consider August to November, it's a temperately, you know this period, okay. Now the size, the limited to small area, yes, tropical cyclones are very small in nature, but the temperate cyclones covers a larger area, temperate covers a larger area, okay. The size is 100 to 500 kilometers in diameter, it is to up to 2000 kilometers diameter, varies with the strength of the cyclone, varies from the region to region, it is also varies from the region to region, it depends upon the cyclone, okay. The shape of this elliptical shape, it has a elliptical shape, but the temperate cyclone is inverted v shape, inverted v shape, okay. Now the rainfall, we can say rainfall heavy but does not last beyond a few hours, okay, does not last beyond a few hours, matlab it limited to few hours. If the cyclone stays at a place, the rainfall may continue for a few days. If there is a rainfall, matlab we can say mostly 3 to 4 days of rainfall periods, okay. And then in a temperate cyclone, what happened? Temperate cyclone rainfall is slow, temperate rainfall is slow and continues for many days, sometimes even weeks. Temperate cyclone, it has many days and weeks, okay, rainfall continues to. When it comes to tropical cyclone, the cyclones exist mostly 3 to 4 days, 5 days like this, such as only a few days, that's hours to days, okay. Means we can say that sometimes it will cross the region within a night, also within hours. The lifetime, it does not last for more than a week, it does not last more than a week, it lasts 2 to 3 weeks, okay. Temperate cyclone has a very high time period, okay. Next, the path. Now the path is east to west, it, the cyclone turns the path in east to west, okay. Turn north at 20 degrees and west at 30 degrees latitude. Move away from equator. The movement of cyclones in Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal is a little different, okay. Most probably it moves from east to west, most probably it moves from east to west, where we have seen it moves from east to west, okay. But what happens here, that there's it was a different here, okay, in the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. Here these storms are superimposed upon the monsoon circulations of the summer months, and they move in the northerly direction along with the monsoon currents, okay. Here the temperate is moves from west to east, means what happens here, it moves from east to west, here it moves from west to east, okay. Westerly jet streams, okay, this was easterly jet streams, it was a westerly jet streams, move away from equator, it's also move away from equator. Now the tropical cyclones in the Indian Ocean, particularly we are talking about Indian Ocean, how the tropical cyclones it works. Bay of Bengal sees approximately 5 times as many cyclones as its western counterparts, means Bay of Bengal has 5 times more cyclones than western counterpart. In addition, cyclones in the bay are stronger and deadlier. Cyclones in the bay are, because bay means what, land cover, water covers three sides, water three sides, land in only one side land, and the remaining whole sides is water, it's regarded as a bay. A bay is more, normally bay is a smaller one, but there is an exception, only the Bay of Bengal is a larger one, okay. Bay is in cyclones in the bay are stronger and deadlier, okay. Nearly 58% of cyclones formed in the Bay of Bengal reach the coast, as compared to only 25% of those formed in Arabian Sea, only 25% in Arabian Sea, okay. Majority part of the cyclones form in the Bay of Bengal. The Bay of Bengal is more likely target because it gets higher rainfall and sluggish winds. It gets higher rainfall and sluggish winds around it. keep temperatures relatively high. It keeps temperature relatively high, about 28 degrees. Due to the winds, okay, it keeps the temperature warm. The warm air currents enhances the surface temperature and the aid the formation of the cyclones. This warm air currents, what happened? It moves towards the Bay of Bengal, and it leads to surface temperature high. Okay, leads to high temperature. Okay. Now, in addition, Bay receives higher rainfall and a constant inflow of fresh water. There is a constant flow of fresh water when it's compare it to Arabian. What happened? There is only less flow of fresh water. There is less flow of fresh water due to the very less rivers flows through the west side. But when it's compared to east side, you can see the majority of the rivers flows eastwards. Okay, eastwards. Due to this, there is a much higher flow of fresh water. What happens when there is a high flow of fresh water? There is a discontinuity in the temperature, means there is a differences. Majority of the temperature, there is differences. The fresh water will most probably it's a mix into the cold water, means it is a warm water. It's a warm water, it mixed with the cold water. Okay, there is a fronts were formed. Okay, but what happened in Arabian Sea? Most probably there is a cold water, so there is much less difference in the temperature. Okay, there is a very less difference in temperature. Now, receives higher rainfall, constant inflow of fresh water from the Ganga and the Brahmaputras. You can see from the Ganga and the Brahmaputras. This means the base surface water keeps getting the refreshed, making it impossible for the warm water to mix with the cooler water below, making it ideal for depression. Okay. On the other hand, the Arabian Sea receives the stronger winds that helps dissipate the heat, and the lack of constant freshwater supply helps the warm water mix with the cool water, reducing the temperature. Okay, here very low temperature. Now when it comes to fronts, okay, we can see that there is the three types. We can say cold front, warm front, and the upward front. Okay, the cold front, wall front, what happened? Cold current mixed with the maybe the drawing might be wrong. The warm and above, cold on below. It's a cold front, cold, and the warm on below. It's a warm front. Upward front, it's above the surface. Upward front. Okay. Okay. It makes it's above the surface. Okay. No, the friends, the air with distinctive characters in the terms of the temperature and humidity is called air mass. Means air with distinctive characters in terms of temperature and humidity where it varies. Okay, it is known as air mass, as the larger body of air having a horizontal variation in temperature and moisture. What is air mass? It's a larger body of air having it little horizontal variation in temperature and horizon. Okay, and moisture. Okay, homogeneous surfaces over the air masses forms are called source regions. Homogeneous surfaces over the air masses form are called the sources regions. When the cold air moves towards the warm air mass, it is called the cold front. When the cold air moves towards the warm air, means cold air is moving towards the warm air. Okay, it's regarded as cold front. When the warm air moves towards the cold, it's regarded as warm front. Okay, it's a contact zone. The contact zone is because of warm front. If an air mass is fully lifted above the land surface, means air mass is fully lifted above the land surface, it is called occulted front. Lifted above the land surface called occulted front. The fronts occur in the middle latitudes and are characterized by the steep gradients in temperature, and where the occult fronts occur the middle latitudes. If it is India, sorry, Earth, this is the here the fronts occult fronts occurred. Okay, the temperate, it helps in temperate cyclones. Okay, the fronts occurs in the middle latitudes and the characteristic by the steep gradient is in temperature and pressure. Next, we comes to local storms of hot weather season. Local storms of hot weather season becomes a mango shower. Mango shower, we can see it towards the end of summer. We can see in the end of summer there are pre-monsoon showers which are common phenomena in Kerala and the coastal areas of Karnataka. We can show regard as a mango shower is a pre-monsoon showers. During the last end of the summer it will happen. Okay, pre-monsoon period. Okay, locally they are known as mango showers, which since they help in the early ripening of the mangoes. Okay, next, blossom shower, with the shower the coffee flowers. Coffee flower blossoms in the Kerala and in the nearby areas, and the Loo, it's a hot, dry, and oppressing winds blowing in the northern plains from Punjab to Bihar, with the higher intensity between Delhi and Patna. It's more. Now, nor'westers, where it forms? Nor'westers, they are dreaded evening thunderstorms in Bengal and Assam. Mostly we see in Bengal, West Bengal and Assam. We see nor'westers. Okay, Kalbaiski. It is also known as Kalbaiski. Their notorious nature can be understood from the local nomenclature Kalbaiski, calamity month of Baisakhi. These showers are useful for tea, jute, and rice cultivation. Okay, these nor'wester useful for tea, jute, and rice cultivation. In Assam, these storms are known as Bardoli Cheraha. In Assam, majorly in Assam, it's known as Bardoli Cheraha. Bardoli Cheraha nor'westers. Okay, it blows in summer. Okay. Now, when we goes to El Nino, the previous in 2019 there is a question on the El Nino. Okay, the nature of the El Nino here they are asked. Okay, let's see the El Nino. Only El Nino warm water in Eastern Pacific we consider. If it is India, okay, okay, here what happened here? This is Peru coast. Okay, Peru coast warm water in Peru coast during El Nino, warm water in Peru coast plus cold water in, what happened here? If it is a warm water, here is cold water. It was a cold water. Okay, it affects, means less rain on India, less rain. Okay, now what happened in only southern ocean? So southern ocean, what happened? Low pressure over the Eastern Pacific, low pressure will be there. The high pressure here, the high pressure, cold means high pressure, means the wind flows in this direction. Okay, now in El Nino, warm water in the Eastern Pacific plus low pressure over the Eastern Pacific plus cold water. Okay, he just elaborated cold water in the Western Pacific and the high pressure in the Western Pacific. Okay, this is the elaboration. Okay, this is the feature of El Nino, are merely an extension of the warm equatorial currents, which replaces temporarily cold Peruvian current or Humboldt current. Okay, it is cold current, Humboldt current. Okay, Humboldt current is a cold current which replaces the cold current with a warm water. Okay, which is warm. El Nino, what happened? The cold Peru coast, the cold current, the Humboldt current, which is the cold current which replaces the cold, replaces into hot water. Okay, warm water. This current increases the temperature of the water of the Peruvian coast by 10 degrees centigrade. Okay, temperature increase. This result in what happens when El Nino? Distortion in equatorial atmosphere circulation. There is a differences in atmospheric circulation, irregularities in the evaporation of the seawater, irregularities, okay, evaporation seawater, due to the because here mostly there is a high pressure and the cold water. And then reduction in the amount of planktons, reduction in the amount of plankton, which further reduces the number of fishes in the sea. Okay, means the planktons of planktons which were dependent mostly on the warm current. Okay, okay, it will decrease. El Nino, while El Nino leads to deficit rainfall, La Nina brings above average rainfall, means La Nina is good. Okay, Indian Ocean dipole. What happened about Indian Ocean dipole is defined by the difference in the sea surface temperature between the two areas. Okay, two areas are poles, means there is, if we consider two areas, there is a temperature difference in two areas, we recall it as dipole. Okay, a western pole in the Arabian Sea and the eastern pole in the Indian Ocean. Okay, IOD, Indian Ocean dipole, is very good for India. In India, what happens? Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal. Okay, if there is differences in temperature, differences in surface temperature, then IOD is very good. Okay, Aka Indian, and it is a good for India. Why? With a positive IOD, winds over the Indian Ocean blow from the east to west, from Bay of Bengal towards Arabian Sea. Okay, in positive dipole, what happened? Positive IOD, the winds will blow from east to west, means Bay of Bengal to Arabian Sea, being much warmer and eastern. Okay, sorry, and eastern India Ocean around Indonesia becomes colder and dry. Here it is warm, means if easter here cold, it will be cold here will be. Okay, now what happens? This resulted into, it was demonstrated that a positive IOD index often negated the effect of El Nino, resulting in increased monsoon rains in several. Due to the positive IOD, even when it is an El Nino period, the positive IOD brings more rainfall to the India. Okay, similar to El Nino, the atmospheric component of IOD was later discovered and named as equatorial Indian Ocean oscillation. It equatorial Indian Ocean oscillation. Okay, the warm water atmosphere pressure between Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. Now, El Nino Modoki is another term. El Nino Modoki associated with strong anomalous, warming in the central tropical Pacific, and cooling in the eastern and western tropical Pacific. Means if we consider here, okay, means what happened? The central tropical Pacific is warming, means central tropical warming, cooling in the here cold, cooling in the eastern and western tropical cyclone is cool. Then central Pacific there is a warming. Okay, such period known as El Nino Modoki. Such zonal gradients result in the anomalous two-cell Walker circulation over the tropical cyclone, with a wet region in the central Pacific and dry region in the western. Here there is a dry regions. Okay, it is a wet region here. Okay, the normal El Nino result in diminished hurricanes in the Atlantic Oceans, but El Nino Modoki result in greater number of hurricanes with greater frequency. Okay, hurricanes. Okay, normal El Nino result into diminished hurricanes in the Atlantic Ocean. It is Atlantic Ocean hurricanes. Okay, hurricanes is diminished hurricanes in when but when El Nino results in a greater number of hurricanes with a greater frequency, okay, much more than it. Next, La Nina. When it comes to La Nina, what happens? The La Nina means during this Modoki there is a increase in hurricanes. Okay, the La Nina, what happens? In some years the trade winds can become extremely strong. La Nina trade winds becomes extremely strong. Trade winds are doldrums. And an abnormal accumulation of cold water can occur in the central and eastern Pacific. The La Nina, in La Nina, for example, in Peru coast there is cold water. Okay, cold water occurs central. This is central also cold, and the warm water belongs to western Pacific. Okay, effects of La Nina, abnormally heavy monsoons in India and Southeast Asia. Heavy monsoon, cool and wet winter weather in eastern Africa. Southern Eastern Africa, what happens? What is Southern Eastern Africa? This part is Southern Eastern Africa. Okay, here what happens? Cool and wet winter. There is also cool. If it is a warm, it's a cool and wet winter. Here it is. Okay, it's a cold area, cold winter in the western Canada, cold winter western Canada and northwestern US. Okay, cold winter drought in the southern US. La Nina, what happened? Winter drought. If rainfall is there is a winter drought, it will be there in the US. Okay, what happened? There is a drought. This is due to the cold. There is a drought here. While La Nina conditions enhance the rainfall associated with the southwest monsoon, it enhances the rainfall of southwest monsoon. It has a negative impact of rainfall with respect to northeast monsoons. Negative impact on rainfall associated with northeast monsoons. Northeast monsoon. For example, we take India. Okay, it's a good. Southwest monsoon, it's a good. Okay, El Nino supports. But when it comes to northwest monsoon, it has a negative impact on it. Okay, now Madden Julian oscillation. Madden Julian oscillation, what is it? Is a global band of low pressure area, MJO, which is a low pressure area, moving periodically from the west to east, and determines the intimation and intensity of low pressure areas, depression, cyclones, and also oversees the monsoon onset under its footprint. Okay, it is disturbance of clouds, rainfalls, winds, and pressure that transfers the planet in the tropics between 30 degrees north and 30 degrees south, and returns its initial starting point in 30 to 60 days. Okay, on an average, is this oscillation happens. It moves from west to east and returns to that period within the 60 days. Okay, there can be multiple MJO events within a season. Okay, and so the MJO is the best described as a interseasonal tropical climate variability. It's a interseasonal tropical climate variability, varies from week to week basis. Influences the El Nino cycle. It does not cause El Nino or La Nina, but can contribute to the speed of the development intensity of the El Nino La Nina episodes. Okay, these oscillations also helps. It won't cause the El Nino La Nina. It helps to increase the El Nino or La Nina symptoms. Okay, when MJO is over the Indian Ocean during the monsoon season, it generally brings good rainfall over the Indian subcontinent. It brings good rainfall. On the other hand, when it witnesses longer cycle and stays over the Pacific Ocean, just brings bad news for the Indian Ocean. But it stays in Pacific Ocean, brings bad news. Okay, now just see this. What is deserts? They has mentioned Antarctica desert, Namibia, Kalahari, Atacama, Patagonian in southern, Namibia and Kalahari in Africa, Sahara in Africa, Arabian, Thar. Okay, warm it is. Okay, this one Patagonia is a cold one. Next, in Australia, we can say the Great Sandy Gibson, Great Victoria, Sania, Tanami, Stone is into. Next, in Asia, there is a cold deserts, Gobi, Kijulkum, Kara, Talkalama. Arctic is a cold one. North America is a Great Basin, and Colorado Plateau is a cold one. Mojave, Sonoran, Shunga is a hot one. Also hot desert. Okay, so hot desert. Now world climate, when it goes to world climate, okay, we will take it world climate. Yeah, what happens in world climate, just a minute. World climate, selvas, okay, selvas, which we can see selvas in equatorial forests in Brazil, selvas is equatorial forests in Brazil. Savanna climate is a tropical wet and dry climate. Savanna, tropical wet and dry climate, we can see here in southern America. In southern America, the two distinct regions, El Noso and Campos, have an alternative wet and dry seasons. There is no distinct rainy season. There is no distinct rainy season like monsoon climate. Okay, Savanna is a there is it didn't have any separate rainy season climate. Okay, it's a tropical wet and dry, tropical wet and dry climate. Okay, in between these places it will be there. Okay, Savanna, Lanoso, Campos, Cano, Bulberry. Okay, the rains occur in warm summer months. Rains will occur. Onshore winds summer brings rain. Offshore winds in the winter keep the climate dry. Offshore winds in the winter keep climate dry. Means dry climate is a wet landscape typified by tall and coarse grasses. Okay, it has a short trees, tall grasses. Okay, the rich animal biodiversity by is characteristic. Okay, steppe climate is a temperate continental climate. Lie in the interiors of the continent, in the westerly wind belt. In the westerly wind belt. Okay, practically treeless grasses are much shorter. Short grasses. Steppe climbs is short grasses. Okay, now the temperate grasslands such as Puza, we see in Hungary and surrounding areas. Puza, Pyrenees, we see in Northern America between the foothills of Rockies and the Great Lakes. We can see the Pyrenees, Pampas in Argentina and Uruguay. We can see Pampas in Argentina and Uruguay. Bushveld, more in Southern America. Bushveld is in South America, temperate grasslands. Okay, so different types of grasslands. Okay, Puza in Hungary, Pyrenees in America, Pampas in Argentina, Bushveld in South America, Highveld, Southern South America, Highveld. Now, Canterbury, New Zealand. Okay, rain shadow effect of Southern Alps. Okay, Canterbury is in New Zealand. Downs it is in Australia. Darling basins of the Southern Australia. Okay, and the Mediterranean climate. When it comes to Mediterranean climate, most probably you soon around the Mediterranean Sea, 40 degrees north latitude or 40 degrees south. You can say these areas are Mediterranean climate. Now, Mediterranean is a warm temperature. Western margin climate is a warm temperature, confined to the in between the 30 degrees and 45 degrees north and south of the equator. Due to the shifting of wind belts. Okay, clear skies and high temperatures. Hot dry summers which with offshore trade winds. Rainfall in winter. Okay, with onshore rainfall in winter. It falls rainfall in winter with onshore westerlies. Orchard farming, viticulture means wine. Viticulture, orchard farming, we can say in Mediterranean climate. Orchard farming we see. But when it comes to steppe, we can say the short grass and steppe. When it comes to savanna, we can say this. In savanna there is a tall grass. Okay, trees are less but the grasses are tall. Okay, now other Mediterranean regions include California. California is around San Francisco. We can say the Mediterranean regions. Southwestern, this region, California. Now southwestern tip of Africa found Cape Town here. Cape Town. In the southern Australia and southern western Australia, Swaland. Here, southern western Australia, Swaland. You can see this. China type. China type is a temperate monsoon. It's a temperate monsoon. British type is a cool temperature western margin. This was British one. It is a cool temperature western margin. It's a cool. British is a cool. Mediterranean is a warm. Mediterranean is a warm. British is a cool. Mediterranean is a warm. But China is also temperate monsoon. It's also warm. China also is warm. The steppe is we can say the savanna. So savanna, which is a wet and dry tropical wet and dry climates. Okay. Now the distinct seasons in British conditions, they are under the influence of the westerlies. Influence of westerly all around the year. Yes, British is under the westerlies. It's a westerlies here. Westerlies all around the year. They are the regions of the frontal cyclonic activity, temperate cyclones, regions temperate cyclones. Yes, rainfall occurs throughout the year with winter maximum due to the frontal cycle. Due to the frontal means occulted front. Occulted front is happening on where it is happening, where open happen. It leads to temperate temperate monsoon. Okay, temperate summer cyclone. You can consider temperate cyclone. More temperate cyclone means winter maximum. Ideal for intensive dairy means dairy farming. Dairy farming mostly happened. Okay, now there is a different names of shifting cultivation. Different names of shifting cultivation, which is the most famous names are jhum cultivation. Northeast India we consider as a jhum cultivation. Milpa. Milpa we consider as a Central American Mexico. Milpa Central American Mexico. Lord Long Indonesia and Malaysia. Lord Long Indonesia and Malaysia. There were a few certain names. Okay, there were few certain names. We can take it later. We can consider it as later. Okay, there are few names. Mipla, Milpa, Milpla, Juming, Ladlang. There are certain names I didn't get exactly, but just a minute. We can recall it. Okay. Then till then, see the trenches. The trenches. Olatian Trench, Puerto Rico Trench. See the places where it is. The Puerto Rico Trench. Okay, with the Mid American Trench. Puerto Rico Trench. It is in. We can say it as in. In island. Which island it is? Sorry. We can. Atlantic east side of America. Okay, you can consider that in the near the Mexico. It is next to Peru Chile Trench, South Sandwich Trench, Java Trench. You know the Java Trench, Mindanao. Okay, Mindanao, New Hebrides. Now Japan Korea and Japanese Trench, Okay, you know these names, Korean Japanese Trench. Okay, we can come to the ocean just a minute.